Hey, welcome to the Straight Sports Podcast. We're your hosts, Tushar and
Joshua.
in this podcast, we'll give our opinions on our favorite sports, which are soccer, basketball, and wrestling. And before we start, I just want to say, I think DeJounte Murray is still in San Antonio. Oh, wait, he's in Atlanta now.
Funny.
Spurs tape.
Yeah, so let's let's dive into the topics. Topic one, Money in the Bank was on July 2nd, 2022. So I'm gonna ask for your thoughts on each match and ask for you to rate it, each match that is, from 1 to 10. So first, Women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss versus Liv Morgan versus Lacey Evans versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Shotzi versus Asuka.
First, I just want to do this, bro. This was one of the best pay-per-views that I have seen in WWE. And this did not include Roman Reigns, and it was still spectacular. I give this a 10 out of 10 because, first of all, I'm so happy. The pick that I made, Liv Morgan, she actually won, and I thought WWE was going to do something where she doesn't win, even though everybody wants her to win, and she was just not going to win. That's what I thought, but I was happy they gave it to Liv Morgan. You know, Alexa Bliss, established. She doesn't need a Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch, established, doesn't need it. I think Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, you know, they're still new. Lacey Evans, you know, but Asuka's established. I think she was the perfect one. She's been putting in the work for a while, continuing to get better in the ring, on the mic, and she deserved the Money in the Bank briefcase. I was just so happy for her, and she's one of my favorite wrestlers. So I was really excited that she won it. She really deserves it, and it was nothing but a spectacular match, and it was fun to watch. 10 out of 10, easy.
All right, so the United States Championship, Theory versus Bobby Lashley. What do you rate that?
So that one was interesting. I know Theory is a lot of people, man, he gets booed a lot. And I'm going to just tell you, I'm a fan of Theory. I mean, he's incredible. He has great charisma, great personality. He's really great at being a heel. And if you hate him, he's doing his job. Gave this match a 9 out of 10. I thought it was good. We got to see Bobby Lashley and Theory. And Theory, man, his heel tactics are just great. But Bobby Lashley won. I thought it was a great match. Got to see Theory continue to rise as a young star. And really think he's gonna be a star in WWE. I see a star in him. But Bobby Lashley winning kind of made sense. I thought Theory was going to win due to interference, but that didn't happen. Bobby Lashley won. Fun match, 9 out of 10.
So the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Carmella. What do you think?
I give it a 9 out of 10. Obviously, I know we've seen this match a few times, but obviously Rhea Ripley not being able to compete because she has an injury. So speedy recovery to her. Hope she gets well soon. But yeah, it was a 9 out of 10. It was it was a really good match. Carmella's, very underrated. She's a good wrestler. She always puts up good matches. Bianca Belair, I mean, at this moment, I don't think anybody's gonna disagree that she's not the best women's wrestler in the company. And yeah, 9 out of 10. It's a fun match.
So the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, the Usos versus the Street Profits.
This was the best match of the night, like the best match of the night. I mean, this was a clear 10 out of 10, no question about it. Um, I mean, it was so much action. I remember watching. I'm like, oh, the Street Profits about to pull this victory, the kick out, and another kick out, then the super kicks. It was just one of the best matches I've seen in tag team. And man, I've been hearing this thing about Montez for going on a single push. I really hope they keep the Street Profits together. I think they're one of the most talented tag teams in the WWE. They're one of my favorites. They're definitely in the top. They're really good. They have good chemistry in the Usos. It was a really fun match. Obviously, they kind of put Montez Ford's shoulders up, so technically that was an accurate pin. So it looks like they're setting up for a rematch at SummerSlam. I'm all for it. I mean, the Street Profits and the Usos, give me another match. I mean, it's nothing but a spectacular match. Best match at Money in the Bank. Can't even say anything. It was just the best match. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen, for real. So 10 out of 10, pretty easy.
So the SmackDown Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey versus Natalia.
I gave that a 10 out of 10 too. I mean, I'm giving out very high grades. I mean, this is one of the best pay-per-views I've seen from WWE. I give it a 10 out of 10. Obviously, people might say Ronda versus Natalia wasn't, maybe it's a lower score, but with everything that happened, and Ronda and Natalia, by the way, they had a great match. It was a fun match, obviously, but at the end, what happened? Liv Morgan coming in and cashing in. I didn't think she would do it, and then suspense that they built, like Liv got like an ankle lock. I'm like, oh, is she gonna lose? And then the WWE built really good suspense. She hit her in the injured knee that Ronda had and got the pin, and she became the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Pretty interesting angle. I thought Ronda would go heel and attack her, but she gave her respects, gave her the championship. But I heard there's a rumor Ronda versus Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. Really excited, but I'm just so happy for Liv, man. She really put in the work. She worked hard for many months. many years, not just months, years, to get to this moment. She deserves that SmackDown Women's Championship, and I'm just really happy WWE's finally invested in her, and fans love her. She's an incredible wrestler. I'm just so excited for her, and I'm happy WWE. This is the right time. She deserves it. She's ready for the moment. And like she says, watch me. I'm ready to see her shine.
What are your thoughts on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre versus Omos versus Riddle versus Sami Zayn versus Sheamus versus Madcap Moss?
10 out of 10. Another like the grades are. I'm giving pretty high grades here. I mean, this was a phenomenal match. Actually, I know I didn't. This was listed later. Also, they added Austin Theory at the end of the match as well. So Austin Theory was an eighth member of the Money in the Bank, but this wasn't announced until the pay per view. And he actually won, which everybody was furious. Honestly, I gave it a 10 because the match was good. I understand the winner wasn't what people thought, but I mean, I'm okay. I'm interested to see Theory holding it. How interesting the angle. Is he going to be a successful cash in? Is he going to fight somebody for the Money in the Bank briefcase? It's interesting. I'll see what they do. But I honestly thought Rollins. I was picking Rollins, or I think Drew McIntyre. I really wanted one of them two to win. Nothing against Theory. I just thought Rollins. They were throwing some kind of future glimpse. We saw this in the past when Rollins cashed the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania against Roman and Brock. They're facing each other at SummerSlam, and Rollins kind of indicated, oh, maybe I'll cash in. So I thought WWE was going to give it to Rollins, and he'll win the Undisputed Championship, and he deserves it. I really want to see him wear a championship. He hasn't had a title in a while. Uh, McIntyre's another obvious winner, but I think for McIntyre, they're probably just going to do McIntyre versus Reigns later on, so maybe that's why they don't want to give it to him. Riddle, I thought was going to win it, but Austin Theory winning, now everybody's excited. I'm not going to say I'm ecstatic, but it was an interesting twist. When you watch wrestling, I think to enjoy it, really, you first, obviously, you want to see the people who really deserve it get their moment, like Liv Morgan. You want to see suspense. We saw it with Liv Morgan. You want to see surprise when Theory won. That was a complete shock. So that kind of stuff, like suspense, people who deserve it, good matches, the Street Profits match, like you, that's when wrestling is best, and that's what this pay per view deliver. And overall, I give the pay per view 9.5 out of 10. And again, man, I just want to say, let's go, Liv Morgan won. I'm just so happy about that.
So, what are your thoughts on Monday Night Raw on July 4th?
Yeah. By the way, I know Independence Day passed, so happy Independence Day to everybody. Hope they enjoyed,
Yep.
had a good weekend. But first, one of my favorite moments I liked, it was Natalia who came out. She said, "Oh, I deserve that title because I helped you win." And Liv was talking, so it was good to see Liv now as the champion, now as the target. And then Carmella came, she attacked her, and Natalia attacked, and then Bianca came to come to her aid, and then they had a 2-on-2, and then Liv won the match. So with Bianca, they both were a part of it, but it was cool to see that match. It's kind of cool to see Liv, in that picture now, being the hunted, the target as the champion. So it was kind of cool to see her, and I want to really see her thrive. I'm just really excited for Liv, one of my favorite wrestlers. I know I've been repeating it, but sorry, but super excited. Like, woo! That was a bad woo, but um, but yeah, like I'm just excited to see Liv in this pitch. I want to see her. One thing I'm hoping is that WWE doesn't do, like, I know when Nikki Cross won it, she gave her a very short reign. I really hope that Liv doesn't get a short reign. She gets a long 100+ reign. I'm hoping because I think she deserves it. So we'll see. I'm really hoping it for her though. So please WWE, let's give her a long reign. She deserves it. And I'm telling you, she's gonna be a megastar. I think she got so much potential. She's a star already, in my opinion. And then the main event, Oscar versus Becky, no hold bar match. A fun match. They've competed a few times. Anytime they compete, they always put up thriller matches, and that's what happened. Becky wins with the manhandle slam on the table. It was a great match, and overall, I think I give this whole Raw 8.5 out of 10. It was great, great. Right after Money in the Bank, put up a really good show. So thank you, wrestling WWE, for the good week. Obviously, I know it's upset with that Sasha Banks news. Hopefully that resolves. We'll still see. Haven't heard any news or any updates on that yet. But still, WWE, man, just they always, sometimes they get you upset like they do sometimes to me, but they deliver most of the times. It feels like they always find a way to deliver. All right, moving on to topic 2. We're gonna be reviewing free agency signings and trades that happened so far. All right, the first one, this was reported by Woj, and ESPN tweeted this. Jalen Brunson uh deal with the Knicks is a 4-year, $104 million contract. His agent tells Woj. This deal includes a player option in the final season. Um, so what's your thoughts on this? Was this the right move for the Knicks? Did they overpay?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think he's a good player, but I feel like it was a bit, reactionary. I mean, that's not to say that, he wasn't solid all season because he was, but I feel like they really jumped at this based on how he played in the playoffs, which I think is a very small sample size. It's around like what I'll say 2 months. And I feel like that's fair, but I feel like that's literally what they're going off of is that 2 month period. The Knicks being reactionary again. They're just banking on him being the guy to like solve their point guard issues, which have plagued them for years. I feel like that's a lot of pressure to put on someone who yes, he's shown he can do it. He really blossomed without Luca, but I do feel like it's you got to see more from him. And the Knicks is a very like I wouldn't say high pressure because they're not like really
Nah, but fans will turn on you.
yeah, but pressure in the sense like the fans are on you and they're turning on you quick.
Kind of seen a little bit. I wouldn't say completely, but maybe a little bit with Randall.
That's true, yeah. I mean, but Randall played horrible and he did kind of like egg on the fans. So I mean, that was kind of earned in a sense.
If you're doing good, the fans love you. You put in the hard
Yeah,
work. If you don't, it
that's
changes. Just
true.
like Philly. Philly's another one.
Yeah, that's facts.
Lakers
And
too.
overpay, I mean, I feel like I mean, it's a 4 year deal. I mean, that's like what like
I would say he's making probably like well 100 4 years, like 25 mil, a little more than that. Probably like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
almost to
yeah, around that.
26 mil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
around
probably
that. So
26 exactly. Yeah, 26 million a year.
yeah, so that's I mean, I think that's I mean, considering the climate, I mean, I don't think that's too unrealistic. That's too like high up.
We've seen players get. It seems like kind of players like who are shooters or
Yeah.
decent players. You've seen them get in that 20 million range.
Yeah, but I just don't think that the Knicks should have like jumped. I mean, to be honest, the free agent class for guards wasn't really that great for point guards in
Yeah,
specific.
besides kind of Kyrie Irving, which that
Yeah,
situation was
but
obviously. I
that's
don't
true.
think the Knicks wanted him. I didn't hear any interest
Yeah,
from that. I think the after that the best point guard that was potentially available was Jalen Brunson, in my opinion.
yeah. So I mean, I guess overpay. I guess I'd say no, but I feel like it was a bit reactionary on their part. But I guess they had to jump at it. So
Yeah, everybody didn't like that they moved like people say heaven to earth. They made so many moves just
yeah,
to acquire Jalen Brunson to make this happen.
tampering.
To
I might
kind
add.
of, I don't know, but I mean,
No, I think they actually did get like tapped on for
I mean,
tampering.
it's
Like,
clear, it was free agency and they were clearly making moves to that was what they wanted. Jalen Brunson. They went to a draft. They traded that draft pick. I mean, they were really serious all for Jalen Brunson. And not a lot of people agree with that. I've seen all over Instagram comments and everything. It's a I would say
yeah.
mixed reaction. But anything else you want to add on that?
Now, what's your take on it?
I love it. I'm ecstatic. I know my friend Danny. He's a Knicks fan. And I don't think he's not really happy with the move. Personally, he just thinks they probably did way too much for Jalen Brunson, and people.
Yeah,
What I'm seeing is like, oh, he's not coming in like LeBron James or stuff like that. Look, to me, when I look at the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks. This is just my assumption. They're trying to get back to what they were at least making the playoffs. And I feel like with
that's
Jalen
true.
Brunson, I think they have a good position to do that. I just don't know. I think I guess I understand what people's concern, but the Knicks have had terrible, like point guard wise, they've been. I
Yeah,
think the last time they had a good point guard, like that fit, like really, because we've seen Kemba, it didn't really work. We've
that's
seen
true.
Jose Calderon, we've seen very
Yeah,
different ranges of point guards, but the one that I mean, the last time I remember a point guard that really took over the Garden was Lynn Sanity, Jeremy
that's
Lin.
true.
But I like the move. I think what Jalen Brunson adds, you already have RJ Barrett. He's clearly, I think at the moment we would agree the best player on that team with Julius Randle.
Yeah, do you think Brunson would come in and then be the best player?
I think Brunson, because the thing is, when you play with a guy like Luka, he's obviously ball dominant. He's special. Obviously, he should be ball dominant. But obviously,
Yeah,
Brunson, we saw a little. Obviously, we're both gonna say they were playing Utah. I no disrespect to them, but Jalen Brunson
yeah,
straight up cooked them. I mean, putting 41, putting his team on his back to win those games without Luka, and I think he averaged like 28. I'm just estimating. I know he had a game like 40 plus. I think 20 plus 30. Like he's had some really good games. Without Luka, Luka came back. Obviously, stats went a little bit down. Yeah, I understand. Like the run was really in the playoffs, but that's where I feel like you make your mark. And he shined in the brightest moment. I mean, that Suns collapse, they beat him, and Brunson had a part to do it. He was special too. In that series. But I think even game 2. I think is the Warriors. I think he had 30. So he's had some really good games against some really good teams. But I like the move. I think, yeah, I understand they traded picks, but when I look at it again, the point guard we've seen issue where he's gonna come, he's gonna be a guy who can get his own bucket, guy who can play make. I think get others involved, make guys easy. And also I feel like we both agree that Julius Randle, as great as he is, obviously I don't think the Knicks are a contending team, but as great as he is, that he can't be the number one guy. And I feel like
Yeah.
now bringing in Brunson and you have RJ Barrett, now that takes a little pressure off Randall. Because those guys, Brunson could get you 20 and 9. I think he's gonna blossom. Maybe I think he'll be a potential most improved player candidate. I think he's gonna blossom. He's gonna average over, I think 23 plus. He's gonna blossom. He's gonna average like seven
Damn.
assists. I really believe in this guy. He's special talent. I think he's had 2 months, but I think because of the fact that he played with Luka, against no knock on Luka, he's a great player. He should be ball dominant. But sometimes a player like this, and he feels like, I can shine. Maybe he saw some glimpses against Utah. Like I could do this. He took that risk. Obviously, when you play for the Garden, it's not just signing with the Garden. The amount of endorsements, so much comes when you play for the Garden. And he has a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. That right now the fans are not happy about this, but it's all about proving them wrong. That's about it. And I'm excited about this move. I understand they made some trades, draft picks. Usually 11 pick is, not a needle mover. But I mean, obviously Klay Thompson was 11 pick and,
Yeah.
he's a Hall of Famer. But I guess I might be wrong. It depends
That's
on how you
true.
draft. But usually I guess it's not. But it's not always that way. Sometimes, most of the time somebody gets drafted lower and he becomes a star, and Tyler Hero. I mean, there's so many guys, but I still like the move. I mean, I just I'm ecstatic about the move. Does this make them champions? No. I just think the Knicks want to get back to making the playoffs, and I feel like Jalen Brunson will get them back in that position to make the East is difficult, but I think they will make the playoffs, and I love this move. Point guard they need. I was wrong about Kemba, but I don't think I'm gonna be wrong about Brunson. He's an absolutely phenomenal player, and he's gonna rise. And did they overpay? No. I mean, this is a contract I think he deserved. He played for it. He was dominant in the playoffs, and he deserved this money. So I don't think they overpaid, and Knicks fans should be ecstatic with the addition of Jalen Brunson. All right, so actually, Josh, why don't you introduce this one because I need to be a little happy.
Okay, so news is John Wall and the
Hmm.
LA Clippers have officially agreed to a 2-year, $13.2 million deal, agents say. So, what are your thoughts on that? And with the additional moves made by the Clippers, with re-signing Nick Batum, Covington, Amir Coffey, and now, as I just said, acquiring John Wall, do you think that they're favorites to win it all?
First, I just want to say something. Clippers. Clippers. First thoughts on this: the Clippers have the best bench in basketball, and I don't know if anybody can debate that. You want to debate Golden State? I don't have a problem with that, but this is the best bench in basketball.
I
I mean, you
mean,
look at what we have. The Clippers. Okay, I'm looking at Ross. What do the Clippers have? We have star power. We have a superstar in Kawhi Leonard, and an all-star caliber player in Paul George. We have the dynamic duo. We have good. We have good coaching. One of the best coaches in NBA history in Ty Lue. We have defense. Wing defenders, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, Marcus Morris, Terrence Mann, Kawhi, PG, list goes on. Also, other guys who can get their own buckets, Norman Powell, Reggie Jackson. And then the
yeah,
one thing I feel like the Clippers, the Rondo experiment, guess it didn't go as well as I thought it would. But the one thing the Clippers, besides obviously PG plays the point sometimes, but now the one thing I feel like Clippers always been lacking is and Reggie Jackson's great. I mean, he played good in his role as a point guard too. But that elite playmaker, somebody who can really create shots for everybody. And John Wall answered that question. This man, one of the best elite playmakers in the NBA. I mean, if we saw him 2 years ago when he played in Houston, he was coming off injury, he was averaging 20 and 7. Huge addition. This man's been an all-star. It's a huge addition. I know you were saying he should start. I don't know if he starts or not.
he should walk into the starting lineup, bro. Come
I'm
on,
not going
bro.
to say that because Reggie Jackson earned it and John Wall hasn't played. I'm not saying. I'm just not sure. I think Ty Lue will figure that out. I think right now Reggie should start, but John Wall is going to be a huge part to this team. Does this make the favorites to win it all? I'm not going to go that far. I think you would think I'm going to go that far. Until somebody beats the champs, I ain't going to say that. Somebody has to prove that they can beat Golden State. Until then, I think I'm putting Golden State as the favorites to win it all at the moment. But I don't think this is a debate. The Clippers are until any major moves, we haven't seen anything. We'll talk about this later with KD and Kyrie and all these other major
Yeah.
moves. Until that hasn't happened, Clippers are right below them. They're the second best team in the West. I mean, there's no debating that. It really isn't. Every other team, I don't think, can beat the Clippers, and I think the Clippers are the biggest threat to the Golden State Warriors
Mm,
coming out the West. And the Clippers are stacked, and let's get this championship, Clippers Nation.
well, I mean, I think this is a great move. I'm a pretty big believer in John Wall. He's a talented point guard.
Hmm.
When he's out there, we know he was held out last season for tanking purposes, but I feel like yeah, he's a great player and he's gonna add a lot to this team. been missing playmaking for a lot of years now, and they finally get it with a true point guard. I think pass first guard and John Wall. I can't wait to see how he just unlocks the offense and just does what he does. And them signing Nick Batum and Covington, I think those are two like good signings. Two good defensive wings, versatile players. Amir Coffey's a solid player as well. So I think it's just pretty good moves all around. And are they favorites to win it all? I mean, they're obviously up there. One. I mean, I'm not going to disrespect the Warriors and say they're one automatically, but they're pretty close. But that's all contingent on if Kawhi comes back healthy.
Yeah, Kawhi has to be the same guy. That's my assumption, and I
And
believe he will come back that way. But of course, that comes
sure,
down to Kawhi. If he's the top five guy that I know when healthy, he's a
yeah,
top five player in the world. And if he comes back like that, I mean, they're going to be a tough outing. I mean, they have every aspect that you need to winning: defense, offense. I mean, shooting, they got it too. I mean, I didn't even
yeah,
mention Kennard. Like, just look at the roster. Let's just put a potential starter. Like, we got Reggie, PG, Kawhi, Marcus Morris, Zubac, off the bench. Not sure who's going to start yet. We'll see what Ty Lue decides. You got John Wall, Norman Powell, Luke Kennard, Robert Covington, Terrence Mann. I mean, team is stacked. I mean, my goodness. Amir Coffey, like this team is stacked. Like I said, I put them number 2 in the West. I don't know where you place them right now because
yeah,
until any major moves happen, but I placed them number
yeah,
2 in the West, right below Golden State. I know you're pretty high on Denver, if they're
yeah.
healthy,
I
and
am.
I
Yeah,
am too. I think they're the third best team right now in the West. I just don't think they're better than the Clippers.
yeah. I think they're really good. I mean, I'm not gonna have them at one like I said before, but I feel like they're in like that 2-3 range because I want to see how Denver's injured players how they come back. I want to see how Kawhi comes back. Hopefully, everyone goes well.
Yeah, if Jamal comes back with Michael, I mean, they have the
Yeah.
potential to win the West. But my opinion is I got the Clippers below the Warriors, but I could see the Clippers beating the Warriors. I really could. I don't know if people are going to argue this, but I will. That you could even, I mean, it's not even crazy to say that Kawhi Leonard is better than Steph Curry. Right now, you can give him the crown because he just won the championship. I'm just saying there's a debate of that. You can debate that, right? When both are healthy.
I mean, possibly. I mean,
No, I'm just
I
saying there could be a
I
debate.
guess
It's
I could
not
see
like it's
that.
not a
Yeah. I
far
mean,
fetched thing. Like it's a debate. We've seen
yeah. I
Kawhi
mean, yeah. That's
Leonard
fair. Yeah.
dominate. I mean,
That's fair.
I guess he did beat an injured Golden State team, but he dethroned Curry in that sense. But of course, if you want to give it to Curry right now, I got no problem. I'm not going to debate that he's a champion. I'm not going to disrespect him. But I'm just saying you can debate that. And when you have a guy like Kawhi's top 5, I mean, you got a shot. So yeah, but I'm ecstatic. I don't know how Joshua's feeling, Spurs fan, but as a Kawhi guy, I'm excited. All right, moving on. Okay, comes the sad part for all the San Antonio fans out there. Great. So Woj tweets that the Hawks are sending 3 first-round picks and a future pick swap to the Spurs to pair Murray with All NBA guard Trae Young. Sources tell ESPN. The Hawks are also traded Gallinari, the multiple picks, and of course Hawks get DeJounte Murray. I think Gallinari hasn't got waived yet, but once he gets waived, he's has mutual interest to sign with Boston. So I guess my first question to you, grading this trade from a scale of A to F, what grade would you give Atlanta? What grade would you give the Spurs? And I know when you first called me, you was furious about this trade.
Yeah. Like if we were to record it like on that
You
like
didn't
that
even
day, I
want to
probably would. I
record.
probably
You said I was
yeah. I
done
probably
with
would have. Yeah.
basketball. You went
Not
that
even want to
far.
talk, bro. Like I probably would have been screaming in the mic, bro. Not gonna lie. But calm down a bit, analyze the trade, and with that being said, I'll give it an F. For
For
the
who? For
Spurs,
the
that
Spurs?
is.
Okay.
For the Spurs.
Okay.
I feel like it was unnecessary. Uh, I did hear reports about how we didn't want to, waste his years, didn't want him to be losing stuff like that. But which I understand. But if that's the case, why didn't you do that 2 years ago?
Yeah, we both agreed. They messed up the Kawhi trade. Like when they got DeRozan, they should have rebuilt it then. I think Boston was willing to give them a lot of picks.
That should have been the start of the tank. Because 2 years ago we could have done that. So now you
Yeah.
wait. He makes an All-Star appearance. We make the play-in. That season was essentially wasted. It was for no reason. Then you trade him for Gallinari, who was then waived, and then picks. I mean, I feel like, and I guess the goal is to tank for Victor Wembanyama, who people say is a generational prospect.
Yeah, I was looking at his
Which,
highlights. I mean, this man looks. I mean, I was watching. They said he has the passing skill like Nikola Jokic. He has the shooting ability, scoring ability of Kristaps Porzingis, and the defense of Rudy Gobert. I mean, that's a pretty scary combination. And it seems like they were saying NBA scouts are like, well, it seems like a lot of teams want this guy, and obviously you're right, it's a gamble. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, he sounds pretty special, but I feel like we didn't need to trade our best player to tank for him. I feel like we could have either one sat DeJounte out or just tank the
I don't.
season.
I don't think
Like we
they
didn't have to
do
do
that
that.
though.
Like
They could get fined for that if he's not hurt and they just sat him out.
The Rockets sat out John Wall for
But
the
that was
entire
kind of
season
mutual because they wanted to find a trade partner.
with no penalty, and that was okay. I think
I
we
don't
could have done a
know.
similar thing, or we could even played him and just said, yo, just like,
Just
like you get
lose?
your numbers, but everyone else, bro, just chill, bro. Like
I don't
don't try
know,
too hard,
bro.
Like we did not need to trade our best player to tank. He's really the best player on the team, bro. His first All Star appearance. It's like it's almost like we waited for him to get his peak value and then we traded him. I feel like they were playing this for years, bro. Because there's no
It's
way
possible. It really
that
is.
because there's no way that you just do this out the blue. I don't believe it. And I feel like last year, if there was a prospect worth trading up for, or like that a prospect that popped, and the GM thought that was on the level of Victor, he would have been gone last year too. And this is why I don't understand is why was it delayed so? I've been saying it for years. We might as well just start the tank because we're really a fringe playoff team at best at the moment. I'm being real. So I just generally don't understand what was going through the minds of the GM when the trade was made, why it took so long to begin the tank process, and it's a gamble that we even get the one pick because the odds are different now. So you're gambling at a chance to get the one pick. If we don't get it, then what? Because that was clearly the plan. Are we tanking for Bronny or what? Because I'm confused. It's like to me, it's just weird, bro. But hey, congrats to the Atlanta Hawks. They finessed the Spurs. Yes, they gave up picks. I mean, sure, but for a chance to better your roster in a spot that you desperately needed to improvements in, which is on the defensive end. You get an elite defensive guard, a two-way player who can take the ball out of Trae's hands, and I feel like it's just a great improvement. I feel like they get an A
Hmm.
for that move. I don't feel like the Hawks
Hmm.
gave up too much at all because they clearly like didn't value Gallinari that high. Yes, they gave up 3 first-round picks. I mean, but
And a pick swap,
we'll
yeah.
see how valuable those picks are in the future. I mean,
Yeah.
that's still the gamble. That's part of the gamble. But I feel like they won the trade in that sense. So, what are your thoughts on it? As a former Spurs fan.
I'll, I didn't go as far as give the Spurs an F. I actually, so hear me out, okay? I gave the Spurs a B plus for this trade.
What?
Uh, so I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain.
Bro.
I
Okay,
can't, let me
explain, bro.
explain. Maybe you'll convince
Uh,
me to move it down. Let me explain, okay? All right. So San Antonio, I think yes, the Dejounte Murray had an exceptional season, and I think it was probably mutual where they wanted to trade him, knowing that at the end of the day, yeah, we can bring the Dejounte back next season, but the Spurs, I don't think, my opinion, I don't think they would be in that play-in mix. I don't think they make the playoffs. And I think they was
yeah,
probably thinking it's better to tank. And the Spurs have a good mind when it comes to prospects, especially international.
that's true.
And I think they seen something so special in this kid that they were willing to. I think this is the only reason why they traded him to go get that kind of talent. But I feel it was a good trade because I think they got a lot of assets. I mean, 3 first-round picks and a pick swap, that is a lot. I know you don't. I mean, I know sometimes you feel like you don't value his picks, but I think that's a lot to give up. I mean, I'm not saying DeJounte Murray's not a star player, but DeJounte Murray just made his first All-Star team. He hasn't been an All NBA team. He don't consider him a superstar. Yeah, he has the potential, but like I think they gave up a lot, to acquire him. People think like, oh, they got fleeced. I'm not gonna go as that far. I think they gave up a lot, and we're gonna see depending on how successful Atlanta can be. I don't think this puts Atlanta as the favorites. I don't think they're the best team in the East. I do think it moves them up tremendously. I think at the moment they're, I mean, I would say they're behind Boston and Philly.
Yeah.
But I think after that, I could see them right there. Right now, until
The
Miami hasn't
Bucks?
done anything, I think. Oh, sorry. Oh, I cannot
Yeah.
believe some. And I'm putting the Bucks over them. So I see Atlanta in the fourth. I think because I think right now I put them over Miami just because of I have to see what Miami does this offseason at the
Yeah,
moment, and
yeah,
also I would put them over. Well, Brooklyn is a disaster right now, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
So until then, so I don't know like you make these trades to win championships, of course, and get better. And I'm not saying they're going to be real special. And I think it's going to work. There's been a question that's not going to work. It's going to work. For Atlanta, this is an A. I didn't give it an A plus because I just think again they gave up a lot. And of course, this was a good trade for them. Obviously, you get a guy like Dejounte Murray. What did they struggle in? I mean, Trae Young is great. He's ball dominant. Dejounte coming in will allow him to play a little off the ball. That'd be interesting to see. I haven't seen that. I think it's going to work. And then Murray could be the playmaker. And of course, you got okay. They're playing Garland. They're playing Kyrie. Any top point guard, Murray got it. He'll guard that point guard because he's a lockdown defender. He's a two-way player. Yeah, but I give the Hawks an A. But again, to me, again, the Spurs, I give them B plus. I think they acquire a lot of talent, and I think their mindset was like, okay, I think it's clear that we're not in the direction that we can go win, and they were willing to start from the bottom. I do agree that they should have started a long time ago. I've been saying this a lot of time, but I think it's good that they actually started. It's tough to lose Murray. I agree with you with the failed season. Obviously, I'm just looking at what they got. If I'm in that position, I'm not trading Murray. That's just me though. I'm just saying
Yeah,
based on the acquire, I'm just giving my analysis of what they want to get. I understand they want to tank, but if I'm Murray, if I'm the Spurs, I am not trading DeJounte Murray. I'm just not. You have
that's
Murray. You
facts.
got the ninth pick. I saw a little. I felt like they could have took a leap forward. The West is so hard that I don't think they make the playoffs. But this is a gamble. I mean, if they don't get the top pick and everything goes down, I will take the Spurs B plus grade to an F. But right now, I think it looks good, but we'll see what happens next season. But if, like I said, if they get completely fail, they get like a low pick, they don't even get a high pick, this is an F, Josh. I think you
Yeah.
might have convinced me to go down to like a C. I'll give it a C. But the Hawks got a great trade, but I think the picks, I think that's still a line. I think people are underrating that. But we'll see, we'll see what happens.
And shout out Isaiah Roby. We claimed him off the waivers.
Oh
He's
yeah, I
waived by
heard about that. Hey,
OKC.
hey,
Shout
Gory
out that
Dang.
solid young player, bro. I'm excited to see what he can do in a Spurs uniform.
There's another big trade that happened. Sources, this is on ESPN. Tim McMahon told us, how sources say that Utah Jazz trading star center Rudy Gobert to Minnesota Timberwolves for 4 first-round picks. Utah agreed to send Rudy Gobert to Minnesota in this blockbuster deal. And the Timberwolves will send Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Jared Vanderbilt, Leonard Bolomero, hope I said his name right, the number 22 pick of this season, Walker Kessler, and 4 first-round picks to the Jazz, sources say. Utah will acquire unprotected picks from 2023, 2025, 2027, and a top 5 protected pick in 2029. Sources say Danny Ainge's first franchise-altering deal since, taking over as Jazz CEO midseason. So, and obviously, Utah's, I guess, plan is to now, with all they garnered, about 6 first-round picks in 24-hour span, and plan to retool the roster around Donovan Mitchell, Utah's 25-year-old All-Star guard. This is all from ESPN. I'm just saying everything what ESPN wrote in their article. Um, just give them their credits. So, on a grade from A to F, what grade would you give the Timberwolves? What grade would you give the Jazz?
So I mean, I feel like it's kind of not tough, but I feel like both kind of got what they wanted. The Jazz got a boatload of picks, a lot of picks, I'd say, and they got some solid role players. Shout out Patrick Beverly, Clippers legend. But I
Jared
just feel like,
Vanderbilt's he's a good role player. This is Malik Beasley's pretty good player. Like these are some good players.
yeah, he is. Yeah, I feel like I give them I honestly give them an A. Like they got a ton of picks.
What? Wait, who's getting a Jazz?
The Jazz, yeah,
Okay, I want to hear what you say about the
yeah.
Timberwolves, but okay.
They got a ton of picks. They got some solid role players. I mean, I feel like can play. You know, they're pretty versatile in their positional sense, and I feel like if they keep Donovan Mitchell, if they even do, because I've been hearing rumors that they might try to get him out, or they're gonna build around him. So I don't know. I'll just see how that plays out. But I feel like they got what they wanted, man. And now for the Timberwolves. I mean, this might be pretty controversial, but I'll give them a B, like a B
Yeah.
plus. Like actually, I'll probably say a solid B. Like I feel like they got an elite rim protector Rudy Gobert. Yeah, we know we got exposed versus Utah. Shout out Ty Lue.
I mean, Clippers.
I guess Cat will slide to the 4 spot and maybe free him up of his defensive duties a bit and maybe we'll have more energy on the offensive end. I don't know. I don't know how it's even gonna play out. Because Rudy Gobert's pretty like he's kind of like a one-trick pony on offense. It's like lobs, screens. I mean, pretty much the basic stuff. But and they're gonna have a lot of the defensive depth. So I mean, and they're gonna have a ton of picks, like you said. I do value picks to some extent, but I feel like for a player of this caliber, like what did you really expect? He's one of the best protectors, that
Hmm.
we've seen in a long time. All NBA player, all star. I mean, defensive player of the year multiple times. So I feel like they got what they wanted and they were willing to do it. So I give them, I guess, a solid B. I mean, I want to hear what you say about it, like your grades.
For Utah, I'm giving them an A plus. I mean, they completely fleece the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Please.
They literally got 4 unprotected picks. They literally got 5 because they kind of got the player from this season that they
Yeah,
drafted. So literally 5 picks. They got
that's true.
5 players. I mean, Patrick Beverly, maybe he might get waived. I heard Malik Beasley. They got Jared Vanderbilt's a pretty good role player. I think he started for Minnesota. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure he did. 5 players, literally 5 picks, 4 unprotected. One of them is top 5 protected. I think they gave up too much. I know Rudy Gobert is a great player, but like honestly, this is my opinion. I think 2 picks would be enough. If you like 2 to 3,
Come
like
on, bro.
5 picks? Are
Two
you
two picks, bro. DeJounte got more
2?
picks than that, bro.
But
He's
I
an
think
elite defensive
okay,
player,
this is
bro.
not. I don't want to take this wrong. I think DeJounte's better, and
I
he
mean,
got
overall,
sold for
yeah,
less
but
picks.
obviously they're going after Rudy for his defensive impact, bro. You can't like.
Nah. Five picks is too much, bro.
I feel like you're devaluing Rudy, bro. He's literally one of the best interior
No,
defenders
I'm
in
not.
the
I'm
NBA
not. I'm
we've
not
seen all
saying
time.
he's an elite player, and that's why I'm going to tell you the grade. So Utah gets an A because I think they fleeced them. They got 5 unprotected picks, and of course I heard this rumor: Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. There's some tension there, and I think it
Yeah,
works. They move on, but if you're giving me 5 picks, I'm doing the trade. I mean, that's an easy yes. For Minnesota, I'm gonna give it a D. I'm not gonna go F because Gobert is not no scrub. He's a 3-time defensive player champion. He won that award. I mean, I'm not going to deny his greatness. He's a great player, but I just think the Minnesota game just gave up way too much for Rudy Gobert. He's a great player. He's gonna help them defensively, but this is still a first round exit team. I don't think this puts them to come out the West. I mean, I don't think they're better than Golden State. I don't think they're better
you
than
don't think that
Clippers.
this
I don't
puts
think
them
they're better than
above
Denver.
Memphis? Because Memphis wasn't a first round exit team.
I think it's a toss up there. I mean, they're going to be a better team. They're not a worse team. They could probably move up 5th or 6th. Actually, I think their ceiling is a 2nd round exit. That's their ceiling.
I mean, that's
So
progress,
one
right?
round up. Look, I understand, Minnesota's hard to acquire top tier talent, and they acquire Rudy Gobert. I
Yeah,
just think they gave up way too much. I think 2, 3 unprotected picks might have been enough. And they also got 5 players. I mean, what is I just think it's way too much. And I'm not disrespecting Rudy Gobert. He's a phenomenal player. And I love to see, but maybe I'm wrong. If they win a championship, I'll shut up. But I just think I just think the Utah Jazz completely fleeced the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert is a great
yeah.
player. I'm excited to see him in Minnesota how he meets with Cat. I'm not saying I think getting Rudy Gobert will help them tremendously. It's gonna make them a way better team. I just don't like the fact they gave up literally 5 picks for him. I just think that's way too much. And the John T. Murray was literally only sold for 3 picks. And I don't know how much Kevin Durant's gonna get after seeing this. Okay, so now that
Probably
Utah
double.
traded, yeah, I see. I don't know what team has that many picks. Now that the Utah Jazz have traded Rudy Gobert, what do you think the future of Donovan Mitchell is? Is Utah? I mean, I don't think they have said they're rebuilding. They just kind of say they're retooling the roster around him. But what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like you gotta get him out of there. Not gonna lie, because I don't think he can be the best player on
I mean, we knew they had
the
to.
team.
Honestly thought that Rudy Gobert wasn't going to be tradable, not because he's
True.
not a great player. I just thought his contract, because he's obviously getting paid a lot
Yeah.
of money. But there was the team that wanted to do it. In Minnesota, he has. I'm not going to say he has definitely some interest. He's a great player. But
Yeah.
so you think? Go ahead.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought that Donovan Mitchell would be the one getting traded. But I don't think Donovan Mitchell can be the best player on the team. I feel like no disrespect, but I feel like he's kind of peaked. Like I haven't seen him like take that leap. You know.
Yeah, I think if you put him in a situation like Miami or a team that he could be the second option or
Yeah.
potential third, I say second. I think he can see him there, but
I retool like I feel like they're still trying to build around him, and I don't think that's a recipe for success.
this is kind of looking like the Dame situation in Portland, where like they traded
Yes,
everybody and we're thinking they're going to
exactly.
rebuild,
They
and in a
traded
sense, it's
CJ
just
and they
kind
want
of
to
like they
retool.
retooled the roster around him. It's kind of
Yeah, I
looking
don't.
like that. But to do that, obviously, I know Dame was hurt that year. They went on. It was kind of tanked. They got the 7 pick, and they go from there. And they got Jeremy Grant. He's a great player. Guy can average 20.
Yeah,
But they kind of did that. Is that the direction Utah's going in? I mean, they got a lot of picks, so they got a chance. But
yeah, and
but yeah, you finished what you were saying.
yeah, I don't think either direction is successful. I think the Portland Trailblazers will end up regret doing what they're doing. I think they realize that eventually that they should just blown it up. I don't think Dame can be the best player on the team. I don't think that Donovan Mitchell can be the best player on the team either. So by retooling, you're just delaying the inevitable, which is a blow up, which will happen down the line eventually when you realize that you're not as good as you thought you were. So I feel like they should blow it up. They should stop playing around and they should just cut the losses and just give into the rebuild.
This is my opinion on the situation when it comes to stars. Like Utah, Portland, these small markets, they don't have the luxury of getting those top tier stars.
That's why they built through the draft.
Yeah, but like they kind of like when first Gordon Hayward kind of left in free agency, they kind of retooled, right? And they got
Yeah.
Mitchell, and then now they start like how many times are they just going to continue to start over again? I agree with you with the sense that can't be the best player on a championship team, but like I think he's a great talent. He's a star, and obviously he's one of the best players in Utah. I mean, he is the best player in Utah, and fans love it. I just don't see where you trade him. If I'm the franchise, I'm not trading unless he tells me that he wants to be traded. I'm keeping him.
Okay.
But if you're Donovan Mitchell, I think you have to request a trade. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna. I don't think you can win there. I mean, the West is stacked. I mean, you potentially maybe if you go to like somewhere like Miami, you have a good chance. Maybe a team that suits your needs. But obviously, we saw Bradley Beal. People said, but that money. I mean, it's hard to deny that money, that cash that he got.
Yeah.
But I think definitely we go on a two-way street. When players try to go to a new team, they kind of get criticized. And when players stay, they get criticized. So it's like we're on a two-way street with this. And if for somebody like Dame, the loyalty, like he wants to be loyal, I think that's fine. Obviously, it comes with the consequence. We don't think he'll win, but that's just what he wants to be. Bradley Beal's the same thing. So I'm fine with players who, if they want to stay, that's up to them. Whatever makes them happy. But obviously, they want to give themselves the best chance to win. Obviously, yeah, that's not the best chance for Donovan Mitchell to win a championship. But it was interesting what they do. So again, I think we kind of revisit. We already kind of went through this, but I'll just kind of ask this again. Did the Timberwolves give up too much for Rudy Gobert? Is this a bad trade for the Timberwolves? Will they regret it?
I feel like they give up a lot. I mean, too much. I mean, that'll be seen, through how it plays out in the season. I mean, I guess one could argue pick wise is too much, but I feel like they gave up what they were comfortable giving up. So I'm not gonna say it's too much. I don't think they regret it at all because I feel like they weighed the positive and negatives and they thought that positives were you know more. I don't think it's a bad trade. I feel like both sides got what they wanted. I mean, one could argue, one side got was better off, but I don't think they regret it. I don't think it was a bad trade. I feel like it'll bring out the best in Carl Towns, and we might see something special for Minnesota. Who knows?
Yeah. For me, I think the Timberwolves gave up way too much. I've kind of already stated that they gave away too much for Rudy Gobert. I mean, five picks is just crazy. Is this a bad trade for the Timberwolves? I'm not gonna say it's a terrible trade. Like I said, Rudy Gobert makes them better. I just think they gave away too much assets. Will they regret it? I mean, I'm not gonna as far as say that. I mean, personally, again, you see how it plays out. If it plays out really good, I don't know if they will regret it. But obviously, like I said, in my opinion, I think they might because, like I said, they give away too much assets, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not saying this can't work. I think this will work, but we'll see. Are they around better? Are they a team that's going to win a championship? Maybe in a few years, who knows? But if they win a championship, I shut up. So, but again, I don't know if they'll regret it or not. I'm kind of iffy on that question. I'm not sure. Personally, if you ask me, I think they will, but it's gonna work. I think they're gonna get better. They're a better team with Rudy Gobert. I'm not gonna deny that. I just again 5 picks. I can't get my eyes off that they give up so much. Okay, so now after the Celtics lost in the NBA Finals, they traded for Malcolm Brogdon. So Gallinari hasn't officially been signed yet, but it's heard that once he gets waived, that he will sign with the Celtics. So are the Celtics the best team in basketball now? Or are they the favorites to win it all?
I'm gonna say no and no. I think they made some great additions, but best in basketball, I feel like I want to see how it plays out first. I'm not gonna just judge it based on the roster. I feel like they still got something to prove. I mean, they did have a great run, but I feel like they're gonna have that chip on their shoulder, especially with the finals performance. So I feel like they'll be playing a bit harder this season. Are they favorites to win it all? I'm gonna say no. Do you have them as your favorites to come out the East?
This is a tough question. Obviously, like I said, for me, it depends on Brooklyn. It really depends. I don't know what's gonna happen there. I mean, I haven't really officially made it. I wouldn't say definitely no, but right now, if you want to put them as the favorites to come out the East, I don't have a problem with that. Brogdon is gonna make them better. Obviously, Marcus Smart is a great player. He was playing that point guard position, but I think Brogdon elevates them. He's a great playmaker. Get everybody involved. Gets his own buckets. He's gonna make them tremendously better. It's a huge addition. They were literally 2 games away from the championship. And they added a guy like Brogdon. They gave up a few pieces. I think a pick. They gave up Daniel Tice and another piece. But I think it's a good trade. And if they also sign Gallinari, I mean, they continue to get better. In my opinion, I mean, they're still below Golden State. They're still below a few teams. I would say even the Clippers are better than them. But with the additions they made, they put themselves in a good position to come out the East again. But I like Philly too. Like it's hard. The East is tough. But right now, if they want to put, I will make my official picks later on this. But right now, I would say, yeah, I think you give the Celtics the favorites to come out the East, not the whole thing though. right now. But until I see everything happen with Philly, all these teams, I'll make my official pick. But right now, yeah, I'm okay with that being that they're the favorites to win the East, but not the whole thing. So now moving on, we got James Harden opted out of his contract. Shout out James Harden. This allows the Sixers, more flexibility. They added PJ Tucker. They traded for DeAndre Melton, and they are re-signed. I mean, sorry, not recent. They signed Daniel House, bringing the Houston crew back together.
Yep.
So what's your thoughts on this?
I like it. I mean, they're basically trying to rebuild that Houston team, except for with Philly, which
They're
I
trying to get they're
which
trying to
will
get Gordon too.
yeah. So I'd actually like that. I mean, that would be pretty good. I mean, shout out Harden for declining his option.
Yeah, this
Trying to
allowed them
build a good
because
team.
they had I think $10 million, and they were able to give PJ Tucker more
Yeah,
compared to him opting in. I think it would have been like 6 mil, so like it's a lot
yeah,
less.
it's true. So I respect that. He really wants to win. You can tell, and he's been working hard in the off season, which is good. And yeah, I really like the additions. I mean, I feel like they're trying to, like I said, rebuild this Houston team, and I feel like they have a shout to be the best team in the East when healthy. But health is that big question for them always. With Joel Embiid being
I,
extremely injury prone.
yeah, I think it really comes down to. I mean, if Embiid can stay healthy, I think it comes down to James Harden. What are we seeing a different version of him next season? He was great last season too. Obviously, he's had some injury history too. He gets healthy, he's the old Harden that we know. I mean, you could put an argument they'll be the best team in the East. So it's interesting. It really, I think, comes down to Harden and Embiid. I mean, if they're both at their peak, it's going to be scary hours in Philly, not in Brooklyn, in Philly. Shout out James Harden. I mean, obviously he wants to win. Nobody denied. He's always wanted to win championships. He's all about that. And he said it. He said in his press conference, like I'll do whatever it takes to help this team win. And he proved that he's right. Got to owe him a little apology, obviously. Can't defend what he did on the court for a few games, but apology wise of just he opted out and gave them the Sixers a chance to get PJ Tucker, and then Joel Embiid kind of even said, especially we don't have a guy like PJ Tucker. They got him. Kind of see an interesting starting line. They got Maxey, James Harden. You got PJ Tucker, maybe Harris. I'm not sure if they're trading him or not. They got Harris at the three, Joel Embiid. I mean, PJ Tucker's gonna make them better as a defensive presence. James Harden, PJ Tucker played many years in Houston. They're pretty good friends. Play great together. Daniel House, I love the addition. He's a great defender. He's a great pickup. DeAndre Melton from Memphis. I mean, Memphis is a very deep team. DeAndre Melton is a good basketball player. So I really like that
Yeah,
addition. They got obviously I know they traded Danny Green. Of course, I know this injury that he got, speedy recovery to Danny Green. I know he's gonna be back on the court. He's a warrior.
yeah,
Uh,
facts.
but I like what the Sixers did. I mean, they got better. I don't think they're done. Daryl Morey and they got some more tricks up their sleeves. All right, the craziest news that I don't think any of us expected. Kevin Durant requested a trade. Woj
Mm.
told us, sources says, and that Woj also tweeted that Brooklyn Nets GM Scene Mark is working with Kevin Durant and his business manager Rich Kleiman on finding a trade for the franchise star. Kevin told ESPN. So, what is your thoughts on this? And does this look bad on KD?
Yes, I do think this looks bad on KD. I
Mm.
mean, I am a pretty big, KD fan, supporter, appreciator of his talent. But man, you just signed this contract. It's a long one at that. There's no player option. There's no team option, and you went out expecting you to go to a certain destination as if
Oh
he
yeah,
has leverage.
I forgot to also say Woj said that his preferred destination is Miami and
Yeah,
Phoenix.
like I'm actually appalled. Like you have no leverage, and you're giving a preferred destination as if you have some say. Like I said before, if I'm the next GM, I'm sending him to Sacramento. I'm sending him to the Magic. I'm sending him to the Pistons. He's going to one of those three places. I'm taking all the assets because I don't care, bro. Like you just signed this big contract. You're saying you want out? That's a slap in the face. Like, do contracts mean nothing now? Honestly, like I'm generally asking because
Yeah, a lot of
this to me
players
is
are doing this now. They
disrespectful.
literally just on a contract and they'll just ask out. Like you see this. I mean, James Harden did it. Kawhi Leonard. I think the difference is that Kevin Durant. Obviously, we never seen. If he gets traded, we've never seen a player this caliber get traded ever. The other ones like James Harden, he had a few
Yeah,
years left. Kawhi Leonard, right?
true.
Well, James Harden actually they traded the Brooklyn
Yeah,
Nets traded a skyrocket for this man.
yeah, yep,
With the picks and the players. Obviously, it was like a 4 team deal. Kawhi Leonard obviously had a 1 year left, really,
yeah,
so it was less leverage for the Spurs.
yeah.
But we see this players are just it's been that league now where players are just asking out. But yeah, anything else you want to add on that?
Now, what do you think about this?
Thoughts on I think this looks tremendously bad on KD. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's not really his fault what how KD was. It's kind of a lot of things gone wrong, obviously. But obviously, he made he was part of the saying, "Oh, get me Harden," do this, do that. And then Brooklyn Nets kind of obeyed everything that he wanted. They did everything they wanted. He said, okay, first thing they get to Brooklyn, I'm coming here. You get sign Kyrie with me. Did that. Oh, James Harden, trade that. Give me James Harden. Did it.
Yeah.
Give me Steve Nash. I mean, I'm not saying him and Kyrie were part of this. Give me Steve Nash. Got him. After Steve Nash said, the James Harden, he okayed the deal to get Ben Simmons. And I think in free agency he wanted Kyrie to get that max deal. And that was the first time I think Brooklyn said no, we're not doing that. And now he requested a trade. So yeah, I don't think it looks bad on him. Obviously, now people are gonna criticize. Obviously, yeah, he's a tremendous talent. He won championships in Golden State too, but now people are questioning. Okay, now he was in Golden State. You played on Steph's team. You were the best in that team. You won some championships, but the culture, everything was established. You go to Brooklyn, your franchise, no question about it. You got to establish everything. This is building through you. And after 2 seasons, he didn't play 1 year. After 2 seasons, you're calling it a quit. I think that's just crazy.
Yeah.
So who is to blame for the chaos in Brooklyn? It was now, we talked about the big three, but now is the Nets a failure?
Okay. So blame, you mean like, can we do like that?
You could do it percentage wise, like
Okay,
how much
percentage
percent you
wise.
want to throw blame on.
So I'm gonna give 60% of the blame to Kyrie Irving, and I'll give 35% of the blame to the GM, Sean Marks, and the owner somewhat, and I'll give 5% of the blame to Kevin Durant.
All right. So we're going to explain that
Now
and
let me
hear
just break
next.
this down.
All right,
So
go ahead.
Kyrie, I mean, we know the whole, excluding the vaccine stuff, like him, just showing up to play whenever he wants to play.
Be very careful when we speak on this, right?
Yeah,
Like, obviously, sometimes things come up personal. There's things bigger than basketball, and that's okay that he
that's
wants to
true.
go out there and go out there and deal with those issues. That's not
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have any
facts.
issues with that. I don't think
Yeah,
we neither have. So we want to be very clear when we state
yeah,
this. But the only thing is that obviously, again, when James Harden first arrived, I think for a month he was away and he didn't
yeah,
inform the team. I think that's important to inform the team
yeah,
at least to let them know, hey, I'm not gonna. You didn't inform anybody in the
yeah,
franchise. And there's the steps where it's just like kind of took that action. Again, it's times you need it, but obviously at the same time he has a job to do.
that's true.
So and again, I don't have problem sometimes personal things come up, but again, I feel like informing that franchise.
Yeah,
And look, the vaccine situation, obviously we know that was his decision, and me and you both said we
yeah,
respect that decision. That was the decision he made, and obviously the decision he made has consequences, and we knew
yep,
what kind of the consequences led to. It kind of led to James Harden. James Harden had a different mindset. He's like, man, I'm trying to win. I'll sacrifice. I'll take this vaccine.
yeah,
He even actually joked about giving Kyrie the vaccine shot when he was there.
yeah,
So, and again, I don't have a problem. That was a decision he made. So I'm not going to be upset on a guy making a decision that he felt was best for himself. But again, it comes with consequences that led to that. And then obviously Brooklyn being the 7 seed, obviously if Kyrie's there, first of all, I don't think James leaves. I think the big three's there. So there's a lot of decisions, things that led to, the chaos, in that sense. So I just want to be very clear when I state that. But yeah, go ahead, Josh.
yeah. You pretty much summed up everything, but yeah, I
But
feel
like
like
what's
his
like your
decisions,
percentages part, yeah.
yeah, his decisions, which is why he's at 60%, led to James Harden leaving, departing for Philly. You're getting Ben
Yeah.
Simmons. It also snowballed into the Nets organization being hesitant to offer you a long-term deal, which in turn led to KD asking out, which is why he gets the majority of the blame. Now, Sean Marks and the ownership and stuff like that, why they get 35% is because they're not putting their foot down. In that sense, I mean,
It's hard when you have star players,
that's
man.
true, but I feel like they gotta. I don't care. I'm sorry. I know that Kyrie does what he does, but you gotta give him that max, that long term deal.
I'm gonna have
If
to agree
that
with you. If that
means, if
if
that
that was
means
the
keeping
reason that
KD,
Katie requested a trade, even though you might not feel it, maybe you talk about okay, try to like negotiate. Maybe Katie's locked for 4 years, right?
yes,
So try instead of doing a 5 year that he wanted, to be like, okay, we want you to be equal, you and Katie,
yes,
like you both are free agents together. Let's do a four
facts,
year deal. Try something
exactly,
like that. I agree with you. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Do I think as a talent, this man is a 5 year 250, no question.
yes,
We're talking about the things off the court availability. Not this has nothing to do with the vaccine availability, things like that. Yes, I don't wouldn't give him a long term deal, but if
yeah,
that was the reason KD was gonna stay,
true,
your hands are kind of tied. You kind of have to do it. But like I feel like Brooklyn, I think when the reports came out, I feel like they just at the point was like, we're kind of tired of this. we're willing to lose both of them. That's what it felt like they're saying.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
because we're just kind of fed up with this. That's
Yeah,
what
and
it
to
feels like.
me, yeah, I agree. And to me, it makes no sense because I feel like what they're doing is to prove a point to Kyrie that we're not going to put up with none of this. We're willing to lose KD to prove a point to you that we're not going to take your nonsense
Katie
anymore.
gives you
And to me, that's
championships, man.
stupid.
He's gonna give
It's
you a champ.
dumb.
He could try
And
to
that's
give you.
literally what they're doing. They're literally saying we're willing to lose KD if that means, we're not putting up with your nonsense anymore. And to me, that's
Mm.
dumb. If you want to win, you make that sacrifice because when he's on the court, he's a generational talent offensively.
And like last season, we know that. Let's be honest. Last season, the only games he missed is due to the vaccine, or else he played every
Yes,
other game.
exactly.
So who knows if there's no vaccine mandate? Maybe he plays all the games. Like how we not
Yeah,
know that?
that's true.
I think Kyrie Irving. Yes, I understand he's not the most liked at the meeting. Not really. He's kind of got blasted, but I mean, he's really this season like he really missed it because of a personal decision.
Yeah,
Um, but in general, like I think this season I feel like he was gonna play
yeah.
because again he's with KD and stuff like that. But what do you think? Do you think they're a failure, the Nets?
I mean, failure. I mean, I can't say failure because the team was broken up because of you know, I'm not gonna say disparate aspirations because they all wanted to win, but I just feel like Harden had to leave, because he didn't know what was going on with that situation with Kyrie. Now Katie's being put in a spot where it's also somewhat because of Kyrie that he's asking out. So it's a failure because you had this collection of talent, you couldn't you had no genuine attempt like at a run where they were all healthy, all keyed in because something went wrong on one end or something just didn't go right. So I say yes, this is a failure. It is in my opinion. What
Hmm.
do you think?
So for me, I'll give Kevin Durant. I would say 15% of the blame. Again, he's a star
Okay.
player. He was part of it, and he axed out. The franchise did everything for him, whatever they kind of want, except really one thing about giving Kyrie a long-term deal. And he axed out. I think they put up good teams around. They put up James Harden. It was a lot of situations that I think it was out of franchise control. They gave them all the power, really. Sometimes it's a negative. We've seen that with LeBron James with the Lakers. Obviously, we see that right now the Lakers, the Russell's not a bad player, but the fit is so bad, it's become an absolute disaster. But I give him 15. The front office, I'll give them 20% of the blame. I think at the end of the day, they are the front office. You make the final calls, you make the final decisions. So you got to give a little blame here and there. And I think Kyrie Irving, 65% of the blame. I think, again with the vaccine, that's the decision that he made that he felt was best for himself. But obviously, that decision leads to consequences. The decision he made that decision, and that led to a consequence. The consequence was that James Harden departure. I think James Harden left because of that situation. Katie had to carry more of the load. And obviously, it's not just with the vaccine. The last season, being like taking that 1 month hiatus, and I just feel like not informing the team. I feel like he's obligated to inform the team. And then at the end of the season, saying things that people probably look at him as like I don't know, you should, like saying like me, Joe side, we're gonna sit together and make the team. Like he said a lot of things that people are just not probably agreeing with. Um, but I'm a fan of Kyrie. He's a great dude. Obviously, people are going to put majority of the blame on Kyrie, and I understand why. But again, he made a decision for himself. But like I said, it led to consequences and a lot of other things. My issue is not the vaccine at all. Again, that was a decision he made. But my thing is with the things happened last season, kind of just build it up where we don't need a head coach. He just said just a lot of things like that. But if they get traded, yeah, that's a failure. You had a big three, and they literally went from a big three to literally not accomplishing anything. Only won one playoff series. I mean, it's an absolute failure. They made it to the second round before, so this is an absolute failure. If you're the GM, what would you do, Josh? If you're the GM, what would you do?
If I'm the GM, I mean, like I kind of touched on it before. If I'm the GM, bro, I'm doing one out of two things, right? I'm either saying none of you are leaving, you're staying here, and we're running it back for a season. Ben Simmons will be here. We added pieces. They even added some pieces which to me look like they don't
You're
really
not
have
trading
intention
them,
of
yeah.
trading him.
TJ Warren, I mean, Patty Mills
Those are
re-signed,
good role
Nick
players.
Claxton.
So I feel like if I'm the GM, my first option is none of you are going anywhere. We're running it back for one season, and we're gonna see after that. We will address this after that. We'll see if Kyrie will extend him for that. We'll see if KD if you still feel the same way. But I feel like we have a championship roster in a sense, and we can go places. So I will be not doing anything for 1 year. The second option, that is, I'm trading KD. Like I said, I told him before, I'm trading KD to either one of the teams that are horrible with a ton of picks
Dang.
and a lot of young players. So that's either the Pistons. He's going to the Orlando Magic,
But
or he's going to
don't.
the
I
Kings,
wonder
bro.
if those teams are gonna do it though. I haven't heard. I'm assuming they would, but
I'm
I'm
assuming they
still
would too,
wondering.
but that's where he's going, bro. I'm going. I know you put that list out of teams want to go. That's me. If this is me, if I'm Sean Marks, I'm in office, and he hands me that paper saying I want to go to the Heat or the Suns, I'm covering that paper and I'm throwing it right in his face, bro. I'm
Oh
saying no.
no.
I'm sorry. You have no leverage, bro. We're doing what's best for us. Like, you want to do what's best for you, so you want to go play for a championship team. Sorry, not happening. We want as much picks, as much young players as
Dang.
possible. So I honestly do not care where you want to play. You're under contract, which means you're under our control for the moment in that sense. So you're going to the team that help us the most, not you the most, helps us the most. So as much picks, as much young players, that's where you're going. You have no say, no leverage. You have 4 years left on your deal. And it's a clown move by KD, bro. I'm a fan of KD, but this is unacceptable, bro. You have this much years left on your deal. If I'm the GM, like I said, and he hands me that notice, I'm throwing that back in his face, bro. You're a clown, bro. You're actually a clown. And to think he has leverage, you have no leverage. If I'm the GM, you're going to the worst team in the league, and I'm taking all their picks and all their young talent, bro. Simple.
So, wow. I mean, that's a crazy statement there. And I'm not gonna say I disagree with you. If I'm the GM, yeah, I'm not trading him. Obviously, I look at the roster. I mean, they literally can win a championship. They still have the trend. You got KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons. Still got, they got Patty. They got Nick Claxton. Still
Yeah,
there, Seth Curry. I mean, Royce O'Neal. TJ Warren. I mean, they literally got so many great pieces. They could definitely run it back for a year. I mean, when Kyrie opted in, I thought they'd run it back for a year. I wasn't expecting KD a few days later, literally to axe out. Was not expecting that. But the other option would be you have to give me a package that is hard to deny. Like, it has to be a package with picks, great players, and that's the only way like that I'm willing to consider it. But if I'm Brooklyn, I'm surprised, hearing the reports. I seen Marcus working with him, and obviously
yeah,
I feel like
like
they want to come. Like, you got 4 years, try to fix the situation. If it doesn't
yeah,
fix, yeah, we've seen it with Kawhi. The Spurs tried, right, to fix it, and obviously that was different. He had a 1 year left, but they tried to be like, no, here's the 5 year 221. We want you to stay, and Kawhi didn't want to do it, but they tried it. Here it just seems like we're just gonna trade you, but now I'm hearing reports that they might let this go to training camp. But if I'm seeing Marks, I'm definitely not sure. I'm like, hey, we're gonna play this out for a year. We're gonna continue to search, but you're gonna prepare to play for us next season.
yeah,
And if you don't play, we've seen this with Ben Simmons. You find the player, do all those things, because if he doesn't play, well, why should he get paid?
yeah,
There's no knock, but I mean, the same thing with Ben Simmons. I don't agree. If you don't play, you're under a contract, you have a job to do. I mean, that's okay with me that you losing money. You got to do your job. I'm not trading unless I get a king ransom, basically, for KD. For me personally, I'm not trading him. Like, you're playing this out. At least for this season, we play it out and see how it
yeah.
happens. That's
Facts.
how I see.
So, what are some of your potential landing spots for Kevin Durant?
I low keep it on the computer like for some time. I'm like going on the NBA ESPN trade calculator thing and running the trade to see if it works. I have 5 teams. So when I made these trades, this is 2 things. One, for Brooklyn, how is it for Brooklyn, right? And 2, can
Yeah,
KD win there? I didn't put a trade out where, like, for example, I feel like Cleveland has some good pieces, and Memphis, I feel like they trade their young core, but I didn't put those because I was like, okay, KD cannot. I don't think he has enough to win there. So I kind of combined in 2 cents. One, how it will benefit Brooklyn, and 2, that KD has a chance to contend there.
yeah.
That's how I kind of went with this. So we're gonna start at number 5. I got the Phoenix Suns. Okay. So this is the trade I put. Obviously, you put
Okay,
picks.
yeah.
This is not really counting picks, but I assume you put whatever assets you got, pick swaps, how many you got. So this is one trade I put in. What you think about it? I don't know if this is enough, but this is what I put at number 5. So the Brooklyn Nets, and this trade went successful on the calculator. The Brooklyn Nets would acquire DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Payne, and Cam Johnson, and the Phoenix Suns would acquire Kevin Durant, Seth Curry. What do you think?
That's pretty interesting. I mean, it's possible. I mean,
I mean, you're basically stealing the Suns' whole starting
yeah,
lineup.
yeah. Like, it's interesting. I could say that.
I mean, then you could potentially have a team if Simmons is there. I assume Kyrie will be moved out too if KD's gone.
Yeah,
You would have potentially Simmons, Seth Curry's part of the team. So you have Simmons, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, DeAndre Ayton. Pretty good team. But I mean, I just put out this trade because this is my number 5. Obviously, if I'm seen marks. I think for Phoenix, the reason I didn't put I feel like this is my opinion. Miami probably has the best package with Tyler Bam, but because they can't trade Bam due to Ben Simmons, I didn't really. Also, I want to be clear. I didn't add no like Ben Simmons getting traded, right? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of players that they can't be traded because Ben Simmons is on the roster. But this is one of my Phoenix Suns trade. Now I have another one also put on the trade clock, but it's a 3-team trade. Okay, so I got it's for the Suns. Okay, so you got so this is with Indiana. Okay, so Indiana will acquire DeAndre Ayton. Okay,
Okay.
Seth Curry and Sharp is a center from Brooklyn. Okay, the
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns will get Kevin Durant, and then the Brooklyn Nets. Hear me out. I say they get Buddy Hield,
Okay.
Miles Turner,
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges, and Cam Johnson.
Uh,
I mean, this is you're okay.
if
I'm the
I'm
GM.
Indiana, I'm taking that.
I'm putting the trade for you. Looking at every team, obviously Phoenix is
For
taking
the
it. You're
Nets, I'm
saying
not taking
Indiana,
that.
you're not taking it. So you rejected both of my trades. So I gotta go to my next list, right? Like you're playing Brooklyn, you're playing all these teams to see, okay, every team you think this works for every team, and I'm giving you the offer. And you
Okay.
reject the
Okay.
first one clearly, right? And you reject the second one,
All
right?
right. Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first trade, I obviously you say the Nets would reject that, right?
Yeah.
And for obviously the Suns, Kevin Durant, anybody take him. And for the second trade, you say Indiana, you would do it. You willing to give up Miles,
If I'm Indiana, I'm
but
taking that. If I'm the Suns, I'm taking that. But if I'm Brooklyn, I mean, wait, who are the players again that will go to
Buddy
Brooklyn?
Hield, Mikal Bridges, Miles Turner, Cam Johnson.
Yeah. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm not taking. I'm
I
not
see.
taking that if I'm Brooklyn.
But if one of those trades went in, the Suns would have enough to win. You still have Chris Paul, you would have Devin Booker, Kevin
Yeah.
Durant, Drake Crowder. I mean, you would have enough to win.
Yeah.
That's what I put. But obviously, this is an interesting trade. I just put it out there. I
Hmm.
think this is the best the Suns could offer. And the only way I think they can acquire Kevin Durant would be a 3-team trade because I don't
Yeah.
think they have enough. I didn't put Miami on this. I don't think they have enough. This is his preferred destination. I don't see him going 8 here. Okay, at number 4, you ready? The Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
I got two different trades. Okay, so we've heard reports. I went based on reports. We heard that they are not willing to offer Scotty Barnes, right? And I understand
Yeah.
that. So because of that, I didn't put Scotty Barnes in the deal, but this is the deal. So the first one is it's uh the Brooklyn Nets would acquire Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, and Precious Achua. And then the Toronto Raptors would acquire Kevin Durant and Joe Harris. And if this, so before you say, obviously if this trade goes through, I look at the Nets side. I mean, they got a guy like Siakam, Trent, and Anunoby all can start. You still got Simmons there with
Yeah.
Seth Curry. Like that was a pretty good starting lineup. You got Pascal Siakam as a star. OG Anunoby has defense. He's a good defender. He's a good starting player. Gary Trent's a great player. Can shoot the three. Um, and yeah, I like that for Brooklyn. That'd be a good trade, I think. And Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, obviously, I'm trying to look at where if he has the opportunity to win here, and I think he would. He used to have Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Kevin
Yeah.
Durant. This is a pretty good. I mean, he's not going to be clear cut champion, but he has a good chance there. Fred
Yeah.
VanVleet and Scotty Barnes are there. What you think about that trade?
If I'm Toronto, I'll do that. But if I'm the Nets, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Wait. So what about the picks though?
When I'm saying about these players, like I'm assuming at least 4 picks and a
Yeah.
few pick swaps. Like that's
Okay.
the assumption. Like picks are thrown in there as well.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still not doing that, bro.
I just don't know how many trades Toronto got and how many can trade. There's so many rules, the Stephenson rules and
Yeah.
all this stuff. So they basically trade all their assets. But you're not doing it for Brooklyn? Okay. Gotta go back to the drawing board here.
It's just so hard to match value, bro. Like.
Yeah. But this is a better trade, you think, than the Suns one? For
Yeah. Yeah.
Brooklyn. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Pascal Siakam is a star. The Brooklyn
Yeah.
wants 2. That's hard to get.
Yeah.
This is another trade offer. This is a little different. Brooklyn would get Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Precious Achua. Obviously, again, picks are assumed here. And then Toronto would get Kevin Durant and Sharp.
I'm still
So
not. I'm still not
so
taking
not
that.
obviously you take it as Toronto, but
Yeah.
not
Of course. Yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. Toronto, of course.
Okay.
But
I think
Brooklyn,
if
I wouldn't.
Scotty Barnes was in the trade, I think
Yeah.
it'd be a
Exactly.
done
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're like the hesitancy because Kevin Durant, in a sense, he's literally played on 4 teams in 8 years. So the
Yeah.
hesitancy that he comes out there and requests, says that I don't want to play here. So
Yeah.
okay, at number 3, I really like this one, the Boston Celtics. If I'm the Nets, I think I call Boston see if they're interested. So for the Boston Celtics, they would acquire Kevin Durant, and the Brooklyn Nets would acquire Jalen. I don't know if this is a lot. Jalen Brown,
Hmm.
Derek White, and Robert Williams. So basically, when I do this, obviously look at the lineup. Feel like Derek White could definitely take a step forward as he can start. You would have Jalen Brown, Robert Williams, great. He's a star. Jalen Brown, Robert Williams could be a starting center. We used to have Ben Simmons and Royce O'Neal. I kind of like this package. What you think?
I actually do like that package. I like the package.
And to go with Kevin Durant,
Yeah,
I think he has enough to win there. I mean, you have a starting line potential of
yeah,
Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Kevin
I like the
Durant, Jason
package.
Tatum, and Al Horford. Obviously, you're gonna have to increase your bench a little bit. You're gonna Anybody who trades for Kevin Durant is gonna really basically destroy their bench. So
Yeah,
you would still have a Pritchard off the bench. Grant Williams. You still have some pieces there. So you like it, and
I do
okay.
like that. I like that because you get like essentially you get what they're asking for. Robert Williams is a young rising star. You get a
Jalen Brown
star
is a
as a
star.
star. You get a solid, piece
Derek
in
White,
Derek
guy who can
White.
average 18.
I assume they got a lot of picks. I heard,
Yeah, yeah.
so you
Like
get
I
some
think
good
Boston
picks
is gonna have
there.
to
I
throw in
mean,
like 4 or 5 first
I
rounders, like
think
whatever they
that might
got.
be like the best package you said. And then if
Mm.
I'm Brooklyn, I mean, like I said, I'm leaning toward not doing anything. I'm keeping them both, but that package is pretty enticing if I'm Brooklyn.
Okay, okay. All right. So, and obviously number two. Okay, this one you can tell me which package you think is the best. Number two, I put the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah,
So this trade, I think again, I look at the sense for both sides. Kevin there has enough to win. Oh, I just want to say if that trade happened with Boston, the Celtics would be the clear cut favorites to come out the East.
yeah,
Um, New Orleans Pelicans, number two. So this is the trade. Obviously, the New Orleans Pelicans can get Kevin Durant, and then the Brooklyn Nets would acquire Brandon Ingram, Devontae Graham, Jackson Hayes, and Herbert Jones. Obviously, when I look at for Brooklyn's side, obviously Brandon Ingram, he's a star in this league. The guy can average 25 in his sleep. Devontae Graham, he's played 6-man role in Charlotte. He's a great player. He can average like 11 points. Jackson Hayes, a rising young star, really great player. Herbert Jones, really great rebounder. He's a really good rebounder, young player, has a lot of potential. And obviously, you throw in, I think they have like 2023 pick, 2025, 2027, 2029, like throw in all those picks, pick swaps. And
yeah,
then the New Orleans Pelicans get Kevin Durant. Obviously, I think he has enough to win there. You still have, starting lineup of potentially CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, and Jonas Valanciunas.
yeah,
Not to mention that they still have, Willie Herman Gomez off the bench. And they got some few pieces off the bench there.
yeah. I like that trade too. Like, I feel like that's pretty good. I mean, I assume they got some picks, right?
Yeah, of course. Like
Yeah.
I
So
think
I
they definitely
mean,
have 4 unprotected at least. I think.
yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, like,
The picks are hard. Like, no, obviously for Kevin Durant, you feel like you need to trade 12 picks, but I don't think any but team side OKC got that.
yeah, yeah. I kind of like that. I still like the Celtics one better though. Not gonna lie.
Okay, so you rank the Celtics higher. Okay, so
Yeah,
number one will surprise you. This is not even a team. I mean, this is not even a trade. It's the Nets. Like he stays
yeah.
in Brooklyn. That's his best
Facts.
chance to compete for a championship. That's why I put them at number one. Wherever he goes, I feel like out of all those teams I mentioned, I think if he goes to New Orleans, he has a good chance. Obviously, him, Zion, and CJ, they're in the mix with Golden State, the Clippers. If he goes to the East with the Celtics, I
Mm,
think they put them the favorites in the East definitively. Um,
yeah,
if he goes to Toronto, he's in the mix. I think Brooklyn has the best chance. You got Kyrie, Ben Simmons. You have a great bench. I think Brooklyn is the best opportunity for him to win.
yeah. I agree.
That was my trade pack. So if you're Brooklyn, so what you're gonna do? This is all run through that trade calculator. I put it in through the thing. Obviously, the picks were just assumed. And looking at it, obviously I ranked it. I'll only put second for Boston and New Orleans. Kind of like could be interchangeable for me. I really do like both the trades.
Yeah.
Now that's up to see that the team is willing to throw up like their whole bench. Because I still think with the trades that I presented, that they still have enough to win. I really
Mm,
think if that trade that I presented from Boston, Boston could easily win it all.
yeah.
New Orleans, I say they're in the mix. You still got Golden State, you still got the Clippers, you still got Denver. I mean, they're in the mix. There's a lot of big threes. Golden State got their big three with Curry, Thompson, Wiggins. In Boston, it would be basically it would be Katie Tatum with a lot of other great players as well.
Yeah.
The Clippers, Kawhi, PG, and the explosion of depth that they got. Denver, Jamal, Michael, and Nikola Jokic. So that's why I still think Boston would be the best situation where he probably left to win. And I think it's a
Yeah.
good trade for Brooklyn, but to win a championship, just stay in Brooklyn, bruh. Run it back
Facts.
1 year, bruh. Kyrie opted in. Everything is kind of set in stone for you to run it back. Yeah, so I guess that concludes episode 24 of the Straight Sports Podcast. Thanks for tuning in and let us know. I mean, I put some interesting trades out there. I think Joshua rejected everyone, but Brooklyn and New Orleans was a little enticing.
Yeah.
Follow us at Straight Sports Podcast on Instagram. And yeah, just we'll see how this Katie situation goes. Before we end this episode, real quick, Josh, last thing. Do you think Katie gets traded?
No.
I think he might get traded later on, but I think in
Yeah.
training camp, I think season starts opening night, he will be wearing a Brooklyn Nets uniform.
I agree.
But yeah, that's it. So we'll and obviously next episode we'll get back to our part 2 of our
Yeah.
shooting guard edition top 5 players. Obviously this is the crazy news that's been happening. So yeah. So we'll be back at that. But yeah, peace, and Joshua won't say it, but we know. Aha, aha, he's a Hawks fan now. That's my bad, Shaq. I imitated Shaq. That was all Shaq. Credit, copyright, all go to Shaq, bro. That was all Shaq.
No, I can't be. I can't be. I'm a Spurs fan for life, bro.
That was kind of funny.
Thanks for watching. Peace.